Hello.
Hi, my name's Estrella and welcome to my channel where I talk about social issues, the media, and sometimes myself. For this week's video, I want to dedicate it to Netflix's possibly biggest show, Squid Game. I'm sure most of us watched it for the plot, hence why I did my makeup like this, and I'm wearing this tracksuit that looks similar. I am obsessed. But besides the main female character, everything is just executed really well. I actually binge watched the show within like 24 hours. By the way, if you hear music in the background or I look distracted, it's because it's Hoko today for me. People are already awake and out and about and I'm here filming alone, so very typical of me. Personally, the aspect that I found the most interesting are the children's games. Not only are their games common enough to cater to a global audience and therefore allow viewers to follow the show more easily, the games also convince players that they can easily get money when in actuality the games are deadly. I can't fucking do this. Oh my god. The struggle is real. So one example is the first game, Red Light, Green Light. Everyone knows that game. I know I played as a kid in Hong Kong. And for me, I had no idea what the show was gonna be about at all. I thought it would be like ball games. So I was really shocked when there was like a mass murder, right? I think the children's games also convinces the players that what they're doing is innocent, even though whenever they get more money or they survive a game, that means other players are being killed. But the innocence of the children's games makes them feel as though they do not have any sort of responsibility, which is somewhat understandable because they're in a system where they're sort of forced to pit against each other. But relating it to reality, I think that the children's games represent the naivety of people who believe in get-rich-quick schemes. In COVID, we have seen a lot of these, including like MLMs or any like pyramid scheme things, trading stuff. I'm a business major, I don't even know what it is, I can't remember. It's like currency shit. There's also people doing cryptocurrency or just like engaging in high-risk trading, which one of the characters was actually doing and then he went into debt. Just even the fact that the games don't really require any intelligence or strength, it shows that in reality, under capitalism, getting rich is not just about how hard you work. That's kind of what we're convinced to believe in, but that's not true. A lot of it is luck. And this belief that we're fed is just to keep people in 9-to-5 jobs who don't really question the system and just work as hard as possible, believing that the harder they work, the more money they'll earn. You might find the structure of the Squid Game pretty familiar, and that's because the VIPs represent the rich people, well, especially like the top 1% of our society, who exploit other people for personal gain. And in this case, they were doing it for like entertainment and to feel something. But the similarity between the VIPs and the rich people is that they both have like lack of regard for like human life. They literally see these people as numbers. Then you have the players. And these players represent people who are in poverty. I mean, quite literally, the players were in debt. And then you have the employees, and they represent the middle working class. So now into the voting system. So there was this clause in the contract that they signed where it says, yeah, if most people like want to leave the game, then the game gets temporarily shut down. But before they vote, they were told how much money they would possibly get if they won, which was $45.6 billion. And obviously the players who are in debt, and some of these people were addicted to gambling, they obviously bought into it. So even though these games were deadly, the vote was so close and was only differentiated by like one vote. They did a lot of things in the name of fairness, including the voting system itself, and just convincing the players that they have a choice and they have free will. But as we can see from them leaving the game, they didn't really have much choice with the lack of money that they have. For example, the main male character found out that his mom needed surgery, so he have medical bills to possibly pay that he has no money to pay for. And similarly, the female protagonist is also in a lot of debt, and she tried to get away with it by threatening the creditor. And another guy, who was the main character's childhood best friend, he was also involved in some financial fraud, so the police were literally hunting him down. So even just from these three examples, it just goes to show that these people didn't have a choice. They were either gonna be miserable and not have a life outside, or they could be in Squid Game, not have a life, but at least be guaranteed that they might get a huge prize. So that's what they're betting on. And this is a reflection of our society. The people who live in poverty, they don't really have much of a choice when they can barely afford basic necessities. So people who are really poor, they might go to extreme lengths to get the money that they need to just simply survive. People who literally unalive because they can't live anymore. They can't pay for their bills anymore. They literally don't see a way out. Even with the middle working class, still relates to them because some people have to live paycheck to paycheck. Essentially, they're not really living their best lives. They're just existing. So during the last game, it's the main character versus his best friend. So the main character ends up getting the best outcome he could possibly get from the game, which is winning the prize money, $45.6 billion. But even though he wins the prize money, he continues to live the frugal lifestyle he had when he was in debt, because he feels so guilty about the fact that so many people had to die in order for him to get this money. And when he leaves the game with the money, he learns that his mother has passed away. So basically, the reasons why he chose to go back to the game were no longer there. His mom was no longer there, his daughter was no longer there. And what this goes to show is also that just because he won doesn't mean he really won. He really lost a lot from this experience and, gained a lot of trauma. The main character, having lived as someone who's poor and now someone who's rich, goes to show that people on either sides of the wealth spectrum don't have great lives. Poor people, obviously it's more straightforward. They can't afford the lifestyle that they deserve, so they feel miserable. But then there's rich people who are also just as miserable. Then there's a plot twist because the main character meets the old guy again, and turns out that the old guy was the creator of the game. And I think the biggest takeaway from this is that he's someone who's really rich from lending vulnerable people money because he knows that he's dying. He wants to feel something, so to feel something he decides that he wants to be part of the game. As fucked up as that seems, I feel like it does reflect some people in real life, specifically the rich people who cosplay as poor, thinking they're relatable or they want to feel something or they think it's funny. Again, this goes to show how bored rich people are with their lives. I guess the stability they get from their wealth makes them feel like their life is stagnant almost, similar to poor people also go extreme lengths, but not to simply survive, but to just be entertained. The way the old man accumulated his wealth is also a reflection of how rich people in our society, under the capitalistic structure, either their workers are underpaid and in a vulnerable situation, or their customers are in vulnerable situations. They make money off of their insecurities or their struggles. And finally, we see the main character transforming into this new person with his hair being dyed in red. And apparently red represents death in Korea. So when he's on the phone with the front man, it seems to foreshadow that he will stop the game for good. Yeah, so these are the reasons why I think Squid Game is a great allegory for capitalism and showing the problems that arise from it. Let me know if I missed anything. And if you haven't watched the TV show, then I hope this convinces you that you should watch it. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye.
Hold on. Can we switch the language?